turn it on now.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Well, then we start. Good morning, everybody, on this Build Up web seminar. I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Buildings Performance Institute Europe and the Build Up web portal to this one-hour seminar this morning about statistics on the European building stock. We would like to provide you with a guided tour on efforts to collect data about European buildings and discuss overall the concept of open data sharing and so on. And I think you're probably all familiar with the old saying that you cannot manage what you don't measure. And I think that's in particularly true for buildings, because we know that in Europe there is a large array of policies which are designed to improve the energy performance of buildings. But at the same time, we know that the monitoring mechanisms and the sufficient data to really monitor policy effects are not there. We know that policymakers are urgently looking for more and better data, but not only policymakers, data availability is also equally important for industry to plan production, to plan output, to discuss what kind of markets could be accessed in the future. I am the Executive Director at the Buildings Performance Institute. My name is Oliver Rapf, and we decided that in the very early days of BPIE, back in 2010, to address that issue. Back then, 2 or 3 years ago, we did a big European-wide survey looking at all the data availability on buildings in all European member states, plus Norway and Switzerland. And we produced a report, a printed report on that topic, which was called Europe's Buildings Under the Microscope. But we soon understood that the data which we had collected was not that useful to have in a printed report, so we decided to really create an online data portal to share that data information which we have with all interested for free. And in about a year ago, in November 2012, we launched this data hub, and you're going to hear today later about new features on that data hub. So the overall goal of our webinar this morning is really to learn about existing data, but also discuss existing gaps in information in Europe. And we will hear about the European Commission's vision and ideas for gathering and harmonizing building data across Europe. And we will hear practical examples, 2 case studies, one from Ireland and one from the Czech Republic, about the data collection process in these countries. And finally, we would of course like to have a discussion with you about data transparency and the linked open data concept, and our last speaker will cover that topic. So this Build Up web seminar is part of a series of Build Up web seminars which happen rather frequently. And if it's the first time you're joining one of these web seminars, please make sure that you go to the Build Up web portal, subscribe to the newsletter so that you get frequent invitations and information about these seminars, because they're really a series, and I think they're a very valuable tool for exchange. Now, before I hand over to the first speaker, I would actually like to hand over the microphone to Alexander Delianis, who is our technical support, and he will explain to you how to use the question and answer function on the web portal, because what we want to do is not to have questions after each of the presentations. We will rather collect all the questions and address them at the end of this webinar. So Alexander, I'll hand over to you for an introduction how this will work technically.